So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So I just wanted to give a bit of information about some work that our ministry and our government is doing. As we all know, education is the foundation of opportunity in British Columbia, and a strong, resilient post-secondary system is critical to building our workforce and driving economic growth. Our government's Look West strategy aims to deliver major projects faster and position BC and Canada to be Canada's new economic engine. This is a key pillar of this strategy is workforce development and skills training in order to ensure that we can have the economic prosperity that we need, and to get here we need a talented and skilled workforce. This is why we've gone ahead and doubled the trades training funding that our government provides, increasing funding by $241 million, and supporting our institutions by increasing operating grants by over $1.2 billion since we became government, investing $480 million in our Future Ready Action Plan, and implementing stronger financial reporting requirements across institutions. Since I became minister earlier this year, I've met with leaders, faculty, staff, administration, and students across the sector, and I've heard clearly that the current system is not sustainable. Institutions are facing serious financial challenges, including as a result of the federal government's cuts to international student study permits. These situations tied with global economic challenges, declining domestic enrollment, along with the effects that institutions are still recovering from the pandemic, have really increased the amount of revenue losses that institutions are experiencing. And as we know, institutions are facing job losses, and institutions are also running out of funds and going into their cash depletions that they have, which is going to lead to significant impacts on our sector that are going to be hard to come back from. So these unprecedented times in the public post-secondary sector requires decisive and measured and holistic action as a response. This is why I am launching an independent review of sector-wide sustainability in the public post-secondary sector that's going to be led by Don Abison. This report will be due back by March of 2026 and provide clear recommendations to keep education accessible and affordable for students, ensure institutional stability, and align with BC's economic priorities. This roadmap will give us what we need to move forward with changes in the right way, so we are making decisions that support the ecosystem of the public post-secondary sector and not just individual changes and decisions for different institutions. So that's the backgrounder, and I wanted to ensure that we had enough time. I know there's a lot of information here, so I wanted to ensure there's enough time for questions today as well.
Minister, how big a problem in terms of a revenue drop has the decline in foreign students been in post-secondary? I know a number of people, for example, have been laid off in communications departments and all sorts of post-secondary institutions. And is that entirely attributable to the drop in foreign students?
There's a multiple number of factors, including, as I said, that many institutions are still reeling from the effects of the pandemic. We're seeing declining domestic enrollment. We're seeing economic inflation and pressures across the sector as well. But the international student the student visa cuts by the federal government was done unilaterally, and we've seen a 70% decrease in international student visas. The new immigration levels plan has come out, and we're just looking to see what those numbers look like for this upcoming year. But it has had significant impacts, and in a way that we couldn't account for because we were not a part of that conversation with the federal government. So the impacts were sudden and severe, and that's why we have seen institutions having to make very, very difficult decisions across institutions.
The decline in domestic enrollment, is that something that's new, or is it attributable to demographics? Or is it just a result of fewer and fewer young people wanting to enter post-secondary?
I think there's many things that could be at play here, but there's a demographic change for sure that we've seen. But we also know that it's really important that we're investing in programming as well for young people. We know things like our $241 million investment in skills training is very important because young people are trying to get into the trades and are trying to find jobs that are going to lead to good paying jobs, family supporting jobs that will keep them right here in British Columbia and supporting our economy. So we're very proud of that investment, and we know that there's work to do to ensure that when folks want to go to school and they want to get training, that they're able to do so. But there's many things at play there as well.
Minister, the BC Federation of Students points out that the core funding from the province for public institutions has dropped in terms of the percentage from 68% to 40% over the last 25 years. I know that many of those schools, universities, colleges were using international student tuition to make up for that drop in funding. They say that, provincial funding hasn't kept up. Do you think that that's also part of the problem at play here? And what do you say for the calls that have been in place for a number of years about a new funding model from the province for post-secondary institutions?
Thank you, Alec, for the question. And it's really important. I think this review is more timely than ever because we can see that holistically we need to look at our sector, public post-secondary sector, to ensure that it's working with it as cohesively as possible, that we're providing all the opportunities that students need, whether you're living in Victoria, on the mainland, in the interior, wherever you are across the province. And I think there's been a lot of growth in our sector as well over years. There's been a lot of changes, and maybe doesn't work within the ecosystem of the entire public post-secondary sector. So my hopes with this is that we will be able to really get at the core of how we ensure that students have access to all the programming that they need, that we are not having unnecessary duplication, that we are looking at our administrative costs, that we are really going to tighten the system while ensuring that accessibility and affordability for students is at the core. Why it's really important that we're doing this holistically is so that we're not just looking at one pillar to fix this problem. We need to ensure that at the end of this, that the long-term sustainability of the sector is what's prioritized, and that we're able to really stand on our own 2 feet as a sector and ensure that students have that access to post-secondary education throughout the province.